Welcome to DMM Downloads. We are podcasting another conversation about DMM between Jeff Crabtree and me, Rudy Rivera. Jeff and I are teamed together in Northern Colorado in a ministry we call DMM NOCO. DMM NOCO is unleashing disciple-making movements in Northern Colorado, and we thought it a good idea to start a podcast as a way to bring awareness and resourcing to ordinary people who are passionate about making multiplying disciple makers in our natural networks. Thanks for joining us in this journey. We hope you get a DMM download from this conversation. Well, hey, Jeff.
Rudy.
We're over here doing another DMM download, and been talking here again, always. We get together, we talk, Jeff. We pray, we talk.
About an hour probably before we start actual recording. So,
Jeff, it's been an hour?
Yeah, we usually do. Our friends don't know that, but we're usually talking an hour before we finally land the plane and say we're going to do a DMM download.
Okay, so what we need to do is, I've been thinking about this. Put it in your head for the first time, and then we'll get to our download today. I wonder in 2026 we do some live shows where guys, we could get live into a mic.
Let's do it.
And we'll see if anybody wants to join us and basically have our conversations we normally have in our living rooms, but expanded and invite others to join us.
So we're closing 2025, but we're already saying to our listeners, get ready, 2026 might be something different.
We'll see how it goes. So, but for today, we're going to continue to look at this download. And today I asked Jeff, I'd like us to look at the concept within DMM of the gospel moving away from us.
Okay.
And that has a lot of ways we could flush that out. But we're experiencing some things, have experienced some ministry here in Northern Colorado where we've already seen some of that. I don't know if it's a tension, but maybe it's just a change. It's a paradigm shift for us in how we're trying to see the gospel push away from us rather than bring people in and kind of make them, use the strong word earlier, dependent on us. So I'm going to pause right there, give it over to you, Jeff, and can you take it? And we want to share some personal stories as well, but
sure.
But maybe conceptually take it away from there. And
yeah, that seems like a nebulous concept. Move the gospel away from us? What does that mean? What does that look like? And I think I mentioned before we started recording that I don't think we mean to, but sometimes the way we've learned faith, especially in a Western culture, is we've created a dependency. Like when someone comes to faith or wants to be a follower of Jesus, then it's my job per se that they become dependent on me. I've got to keep nurturing that, or come to our building, come to our institution, come to our church, so they become dependent on weekly preaching or ministry to their teenager or to their children or whatever. And we're not saying all of that is bad, but if you look down the road, dependency doesn't create the opportunity for, if you will, the gospel to go viral beyond us. And so maybe I'll just leave it at that because, again, I know we're going to talk a little bit about how does that actually take place in some things that we've learned. But does that make sense that when the concept in disciple-making movements is that we want to have a change of mindset, we're not trying to bring ministry to us individually or churches to make people dependent. We're trying to have a mindset that we want to equip and empower and let them then go into their oikos, their spheres of influence, their social networks, and it happens that it moves away from us if that visualization can take place over the to our listeners.
Yeah, and I for whatever reason I really like the word extraction as almost like a strategy. So rather than extracting people from natural networks and then kind of reshaping them through, spiritual formation and then sending them back out into their old neighborhoods. Well, now they're like, boy, I don't even know the neighborhood anymore. It's changed,
Right.
you know. Rather than that, really from day one and pre-salvation even, really working with people in their natural networks so that the gospel can continue to move outwardly instead of bringing them in. And then, let's face it, I think hoping that they go back out, right? So
Sure.
bring them in, pray, hope, train, but reality probably see very few converted to being outwardly focused. We start from day one with let's push it away from us. But yeah, you wanted to maybe share a few stories or a story, an example of something we're working through presently.
Yeah. Recently, within the last 5 weeks or so, again, we're trying to give some real life examples here. A young man, I had an interaction with a young man who was not a follower, was not a believer of Jesus as Lord, King, Messiah. And through some interaction, got into a place where I thought he was ready. And again, this has changed for me because do I have him pray the prayer of salvation, which is all I've known for 40 some years of my journey, a tool in my toolbox? Or do I attempt to guide him into more of this is about you're committing the rest of your life to be a follower of Jesus rather than to get saved? And so there was just a little interaction there. I really didn't talk to him about getting his sins forgiven so he gets to go to heaven. I began to talk to him about what it would mean to be a follower of Jesus and leave a life of sin, if we could put it that way, and to follow a different path. And so even in me doing that, it was the mindset of I want him eventually to be a disciple, but a disciple maker.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have him dependent upon me short and long term. And so how that then fleshed out was I had an opportunity to meet his wife, so this young man had been coming to, if you will, the church building, the church program, but she wouldn't come. Well, I had an opportunity to meet her the other day and kind of, ask some questions to see if she would be interested in coming. And you could see this resistance.
Yeah.
Even though she's interested in faith now, watching her husband have a new experience. And if you will, I was trying to get them to have a concept that could not Jesus, if you will, meet them in their own home. And maybe do they have friends and family that they could invite to their home? Not me, not the building. Do you see the idea of not dependency, but then to try to get them to do this? So I'm just being honest that some of the concepts in DMM we have that we proclaim, that we train, we have not yet fully experienced. But again,
Right.
it's a mindset of I don't necessarily want them to come to me or our building or our institution to be dependent. I want the gospel to invade their home and their oikos, their friendships, to, again, maybe it's in their home and then meet in some of their families' homes or their friends' homes. So it's not only moving the gospel away, but it has a concept of multiplication, which is a key concept within disciple-making movements, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's making sense to me, and it's actually really firing me up. But I am curious. I'm kind of trying to hear, if people are listening and they're maybe in a different mindset. How can you speak to, I'm going to ask a very pointed question here, Jeff. Jeff, are you saying don't have them join the church? Is that what you're saying? And by the church, I'm putting it in quotes here, guys. You can't see me, but
the building,
yeah,
the institution, the organization.
Yeah. Or is there a place what if they want to go and sit and be with the people of God in an institution type setting? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
I'm putting you on the spot here, bro.
Yeah, this is a little edgy, which is fine. We're learning. Pioneers learn and grow. And please, I'd qualify again for our listeners, maybe they haven't heard the back. I'm in my 48th year of, quote, full-time organizational, professional clergy ministry. So this might be offensive or challenging to some, I'm not saying don't come because I think he wants to come at this point. The reality is his wife, I don't think, wants to come. That's not where she's probably going to meet Jesus or live out her faith. So I don't dictate. I'm saying I'm giving a new, different option, mindset that isn't about, what's the word we're using? Extraction, and has an idea of that let's let the gospel be implanted in different environments and let it spread, go viral, go away from us. So I'm saying there are people who will come to a followership of Jesus that will want to be in what we already have, but there's a whole lot of people in our culture that for whatever reason they will not come to our buildings, onto our turf, onto our space to talk like we do. So I think DMM gives them some different options and has a longer term strategy of it being able to go viral.
Yeah, with the concept of push things away from us. So push the gospel away from us, not only in obeying the Great Commission, go therefore and make disciples. So we're going and everybody's going, but we're making disciples as we go. That's part of the pushing away. But then also, when people are found and saved, salvation has come to their home. I really like that from Zacchaeus' story. Then don't bring them back. Don't kind of magnetically, pull them back towards us, but rather continue to push them out, push the gospel out through them into their natural networks. I think that's a mindset shift, and I think it's a mindset shift, as even as you said, on how we even share the faith, how we not only practice a faith but then share the faith with others. That instead of, hey, come and be saved by Jesus, we're actually, maybe it's the other part of that too, saved for Jesus and for that work from day one. So
I agree.
I don't know, maybe as we kind of close out here, do you want to unpack anything else or add anything to that story?
I guess the only thing I would add in this short amount of time is when I think of Jesus, he trained and equipped his disciples to go, not to invite.
Yeah.
Or to invite back. Hey, will you come to what we've got going in this part of Israel? No, go, and as you're going, implant this gospel in various spheres so that it will continue to multiply, and spread out. So I think the Great Commission of go and make disciples, and that our disciples make disciples, and their disciples make disciples, and then their disciples make disciples, probably is better lived out in the context of natural networks than extraction into our already built system.
Yeah, that's really well said. So as we're practicing DMM in Northern Colorado, I would just say this concept of pushing the gospel away from us, the ministry away from us, I think it does combat most of our training, especially if you've been kind of formally trained in our church traditions. But I do think it's also more in line with what you're saying, Jesus' command to go, therefore, and make disciples in the Great Commission. So I really appreciate the download, Jeff.
Yeah, one last thing real quick.
Yeah.
I know we're going to run out of time. I think of this gentleman that I've talked about. It doesn't mean that I still won't have a relationship with him in a very nurturing way, but I will then coach him not to be dependent, where before I would have said, hey, okay, I'm in a relationship to you, come to my world, come to our church. If that makes sense to our listeners, is we're not saying that we won't have any relationship. It's a different kind of relationship that doesn't create dependency, but creates freedom and equipping others then to move farther away from us.
Yeah, that's really well said. Thanks for adding that part. Thanks, Jeff, for today. Thanks, Jeff, for that engaging download. In DMM, we like to say that disciples are learners. I know I'm learning a lot from my conversations with you, Jeff. From all of us in DMM NOCO, we hope you got a DMM download from the conversation today. Don't forget to leave this podcast a review wherever you are listening online. If you found this conversation helpful, please head over to our site, dmmnoco.com, where you can find more content for your DMM journey, including a self-paced Habits of a Multiplying Disciple course. The course is designed to give you practical next steps to becoming a DMM practitioner and multiplying disciple maker. You can take that course for free at dmmnoco.com. We will be back next week with another engaging DMM download episode. Until then, may you hear from God through His Spirit and take simple steps of obedience in what you hear.